Hello, everyone. Hello, my cosmic friends. Thank you for joining us on Interstellar Chats. I have a super special person who is here to join us for our interview series. We have Angela Lundy, and I'm so thankful you're here and in our space today because you have so much to share and to share with the collective, as well as what you can do on an individual basis to help people connect and really heal and do all the things that they're meant to do in their powerful self. So real quick, I'll just kind of tell people about who you are and where you came from and all that juicy stuff, and we'll get right into it. So Angela is on a lifelong journey to live on purpose. After years of trying to find the one right way, she realized that we are all unique and everybody's path is different. Angela uses tools such as astrology, human design, and gene keys to continually rewrite her story of who she is to live in alignment. And now she uses those same tools to help humanity.
Yes.
Welcome, Angela.
Thank you for having me. I just always love connecting with like-minded and beautiful souls, and yeah, this will be fun.
Yes, excellent. So let's just jump right in. I would love to start with your journey or your origin story or your pivotal point that really got you into doing what you do, because we all have a story, right? So I would love to know yours, and that also helps our audience to connect with you more.
Yeah. No, I definitely came here with a very thin veil at first, and I, growing up, I always talked about people before I knew them before. I was an extremely shy child, and so I wouldn't really interact with adults, but I had a great grandpa with this big booming voice that I'd always crawl up in his lap, and my mom would be like, "What in the world?" I'd be like, "I knew him before he died." And I guess I told her stories about how we floated down the river before together. And, and I just always remembered people and my siblings and my mom as being sisters before, and all of those. So I just kind of came in with a little bit of the prior knowledge, and definitely shared that. My grandma was a very, very wonderful psychic. You could give her any name and she could just tell you everything about that person. So it was always something that we grew up understanding, but we also grew up in a Christian background. So it was like we had a foot in both worlds. And so we grew up, and then I went off to college and kind of lost it all, right? It was like they're teaching you about how religion is just creating sheep and all of these things. And I was like, oh yeah, religion's terrible. But I didn't have any faith then. And I'd kind of forgotten my background and my roots. And I was just kind of very lost for a very long time, and trying to find my way through health and nutrition and all of these things. And then I went off to the Navy because I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I was a weather forecaster and had my children, but my health just kept going down and down and down until I couldn't eat anything hardly. And so I couldn't cook, which was what I was going to do. I was going to be a health chef or a holistic, and I was like, wow, I can't eat any foods. I can't. So I finally had to start finding all of these techniques to heal myself. I looked everywhere and couldn't find anybody to heal me. So I had to become my own healer. So then I learned about meditation and tapping, and found Louise Hay and Dolores Cannon and all of these beautiful, beautiful people that kind of helped me regain my health. And then I found the tools of astrology, human design, and gene keys. And with that, it really helped me to understand who I was, why I was not in alignment, and why I was having the health issues I was having. Because when you live a life that's not on purpose, not on path, your body's going to tell you.
Exactly. And I find that so interesting because we've actually lived some parallels here.
Okay.
Yes. And, I think it's very interesting because with the life, it seems, of at least our age range and, just different, maybe 10 years ahead and 10 years below where I am. I'm 52. I don't even know how old you are.
Yeah, I'm 40. Yep.
Okay. So, I think it's that 10 years ahead and 10 years behind where I am, there's just this very interesting thing that has taken place where those of us who have woken up kind of, well, came into this world already kind of awake and having that access to the other realms and being able to really realize who we are at an early age. And then we lose a bit of that at some point in our life because, the paths and all the programming and mind control and all the stuff that was very prevalent for us for a time, which isn't really truly there now. So we're all kind of waking up again. But my point is, we always seems, and this is a thread that I'm noticing, which is why I'm bringing it up. It seems as though so many of us have had to have problems with our health, with our body. And then it takes us to connecting with this vessel, this meat suit, if you will, this thing that we have to carry around, and really learn about it from a little bit more of a practical and a science standpoint before we can dive back into our consciousness and the blossoming part of that transition, or that evolution. What am I saying? Could have been a revolution. But don't you see that? Like, a lot of us who are very psychically connected are also having to deal with health issues or body issues or something like that. Over something that's been a major hurdle, and then it's like, oh, my life just cracked right open.
And I always talk about kind of the pillars. If you want to live a spiritual and happy life, you do have to take care of your health, because we do have such sensitive bodies. I feel like when you come in with this kind of it's a vessel that it's pulling in, right? And so it does need a little bit, cleaner diet and healthy foods, and making sure that we're taking care of that so we can hear the message without all that fuzz.
Excellent. So tell me how gene keys and astrology and human design, how does that all fit together? Because I know several people who are masters in this realm, and they sort of take different focus on each of those things. And it seems as though you kind of have this interwoven special thing going on. So tell me more.
I mean, I'm in human design, you get these crosses, right? And so my cross is the cross of education. And so I really love taking these tools to really kind of take you back to school. Like, Earth is a school, right? We know that we're here with this curriculum. And it's like, if you understand the curriculum, you can start to understand why things show up in your life, why things are happening for you. And then you can start, kind of getting ahead of it, getting the mindset right, and doing the lesson that you came here to do. And when you really do that, you don't have the crisis and all of the things that happen when you're not doing, your Earth school. So I love to take it from that perspective. And so I started in human design, which it really spoke to me. I'm a 6/2 manifesting generator. My mom always told me, the grass isn't always greener, and the grass is green for me in all these different things, right? And maybe I come back to the same pasture, but I have to taste all the different things so that I can bring them and synergistically put them together. So it is really healthy for me to hop from one thing to another, gathering all of this information and then making my own thing. Human design really helped me embrace that. I also have a very strong emotional wave. 50% of us are emotional. 50% of us are empathic, right? I call it the actual empath, is when you have this wide open emotional center, because you're really feeling everybody's emotion and feeling them at 200%. I have an emotional wave. So while I kind of psychically take in your wave through the mind, I don't feel it in my body like an empath would, right? But my wave's really high and then it falls. And when it falls, I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I'm not going to do that. So learning about the emotional wave has helped me to move past the really, really high, I'm very excited about something, and then fall off the cliff about it. But it's just giving me so much information. So learning these tools helped me be where I am. So I didn't throw things away too soon. So I didn't think that I never stick with anything. It was like, no, this is your superpower. How can you utilize it? And then I gathered the gene keys, which I love because it gives you the shadow and the gift of each of these tools. So now we're doing shadow work, right? Which is super impactful. So I like to take the gene keys and help people kind of see where the gift is and where they can fall in that shadow side of it and where they can kind of gather that gift side a little bit more. And then I love to kind of put the astrology wheel in. You can do shamanic astrology and evolutionary astrology, showing some past life tendencies, showing the map of what you came here to experience. And then you get your Saturn lesson and your Pluto lesson, which Saturn moves 30 years around the circle. It has a lesson every 30 years. We can see it in the chart. It has a gene key that's going to show you the shadow side and the gift side. Usually each 2.5 years when you're moving through that house, you're going to see the shadow side show up really strong. And then you're going to see the gift side show up. And then you're going to move on to the next area of your life. And you can just see the pattern. And when you see that pattern and you understand the lesson, it magically kind of empowers you to take control of it instead of letting it kind of control you until it gets you there. So that's how I kind of look at all of those systems, and it can just be super impactful when we use them for our benefit, right?
Well, that's awesome. I love that you're doing all three of those, but I want to dial it back for a moment because we have a lot of folks or a lot of our audience who don't even know what human design is or what gene keys is. And, I only barely know what it is over the last year or so. I've never even heard of it. So can you give us just the basics of like what these systems are? Because I think if we really understand that these are tools that can help illuminate who we are and why we do things. But what is that system? Like, what is human design? What is gene keys?
So human design, so we all are semi-familiar with astrology, right? We've heard it for forever. We know that there's these, 7 to 10 planets, depending on what you look at, that make up your chart. So human design was Ra Uru. He downloaded this system. He had an 8-day trip in Ibiza. And he downloaded this entire system, but it's not like he made it up out of nowhere, right? He was downloaded the idea of how to place all of these ancient systems. So it's off of astrology. So we can see the system in astrology, but it takes the Chinese I Ching that has been around for centuries. The I Ching is one of the most ancient systems, but he was downloaded the information on how to place that on an astrology wheel and how to pull this information using the chakra system. You can see the chakra system in the body graph. So I would love anybody to just pull up, anywhere, free human design chart, put your birth information in, pull it up, and you're going to see this body graph. And all of this information is pulled from these different ancient systems, and they're put together in a body graph. So I can literally see how your energy speaks when I look at a body graph. And I love it so much. It's the mechanics, right? Like, how does your mechanics work for you? And I have a lot of masculine in astrology. I'm all like air and fire. And so I'm always like, let's figure out how to make this work like quickly, right? And so that's what I love about human design. It's the mechanics of you, right? How is your energy talking to itself? Where, what system is talking to what system? Where are you open in your chart so that you're feeling other people? I always say part of the chart is where you're a receiver for other people's energy. And part of it is where you're creating the signal and putting it out. So let's understand that. Let's understand why you get in a room with this person and you're like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable. They have a defined center that's pushing on you, right? So it just gives you the mechanics. It's a very quick mechanical system. It talks about your aura type. So there's 5 aura types. So you'd see your aura type, which I said I was a manifesting generator. There's 5 types. You'd see what your type is. And that gives us a lot of information. And there's so much free information out there. You can come to me and I can break it down for you, but it gives you your aura type. It gives you your costume, which is the profile. So that's 1 through 6 is like what's your costume. You get a 2-part number. I'm a 6'2". I don't know. Do you know what your profile is in human design?
I don't remember, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But that'll give you a lot more information. We've got the investigator archetype. We've got the dancer archetype. We've got the experimenter that has to fail over and over and over. And that's just how they learn, right? And when we understand our archetype better and why we kind of pick these lessons on how we experience life, it's so empowering. And then you look over at your partner or your children and you're like, oh yeah, they're the experimenter. They have to fail. I have to give them the positive mindset to know that they're going to fail the rest of their life, but they're learning through that, right? And so it just gives us so much information. But yeah, it's really the mechanics. And then Gene Keys was actually invented off of human design. So we're still taking the gate system from the Chinese I Ching that Ra, kind of put together. And Richard Rudd, he's actually from the UK. He studied under Richard Rudd, or for Ra, human design system for years. He actually wrote 2 human design books that I really love. If you want to get into human design, I love Richard Rudd's view of it. And he asked him if he could make his own system. Because while Ra is a manifester with this really impactful energy, he could be very negative and he could just try to bust you open with his language, which not everybody resonates with, right? And Richard Rudd is this like gentle, beautiful soul that contemplated every single one of these keys for years and years and years. And he's written this beautiful book. If you buy the Gene Keys book, you can read all of these. You could read it just to see, because we all have these archetypes within us. And it's just a beautiful contemplation. But you can also pull his free profile on genekeys.com and you'll see your, and it gives you your life purpose, your evolution, your radiance, and then your life's work and this beautiful little map that kind of takes you through, how do I do relationships? What am I really here for? What's my pearl? And it's just all really beautiful language. I love how he's given us these tools to work with our shadows. One of my shadows is vanity, the 12. My sun is vanity. So I held myself back a lot because I was too afraid that I wouldn't sound perfect, that I wouldn't look perfect, that I wouldn't be perfect. And when I read this vanity, I was like, I'm really not going to do my purpose because I'm being in vanity over whether or not I'm good enough or perfect enough. Or I could take it to the discrimination, where I have this really beautiful way of being able to cut and see like what's for me and what's not and what's really aligned, and utilize that and walk in that gift. And so I think contemplating these is a really beautiful practice for anybody. And it's very accessible, right? Anybody can buy the book, look at their keys, and just read and contemplate.
I was just going to say, it really, truly is a beautiful thing, right? Because you're given a map that allows you to accept things about yourself, or be able to feel comfortable with where you are or where you're going or why you've done things in the past. So it's like you have this physical map of your life, and it's genius. It's just absolutely genius.
Yes. Well, everybody says do the work, right? And it's like, what's the work? For me, it gave me a map of the work, right? It was like, let's dive in deep. Here's your, one of your biggest wounds. Let's dive in, here's your Chiron. Let's dive in. And I'm like,
so now you have exactly the thing you should be working on.
Yeah.
And how wonderful is it to know that when you're in relationship, right? Whether it's your partner or it's your children or it's your parents or just friendships, you can then understand why you're responding or reacting or whatever it is in a certain way, or even why they are, and being able to offer grace and understanding and not friction, right? So we can actually all bring it back to our heart center, which is the biggest thing we should be doing anyway, is coming at all relationships from a love standpoint.
Yeah. And when you have so much more understanding of how different and unique you are, and you can love that. And then you can see how different and unique everybody else is and how they look through a different lens, and they are here for a different mission, and you can love that. It is such a beautiful thing. I mean, my whole family is so happy that I do this, because I'm so accepting of everybody showing up who they are now. It opened my eyes even.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's like having permission to accept people for who they are and seeing them for who they are,
Yeah.
and being able to interact in a place of flow instead of constriction or restriction.
Yeah. 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 I
That's
have a family
beautiful.
member that has a very tough cross. They're the cross of upheaval, and they're really here to create chaos for growth, right? Like, that's what these things are driving towards. And it used to be so frustrating to me. And now I'm like, man, you're doing a good job. I have grown more than I've ever grown, because, like, you're doing a great job. Like, I'm cheering them on.
Right? And that celebration is so important. It
Yeah.
is. It's because it allows for you to say, I see me, I see myself, but yet when you're interacting with someone else, you see them for who they really are.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? It's
And
really
that they
wonderful.
picked this mission, right? They picked
Yeah.
this mission. I picked this mission. Like, let's celebrate that. We're in Earth School.
I love it. I love it. So I know you do a lot on the earthly realm, but also with the astrology part. I'm a galactic shaman, so I always love to bring in the other realms and the off-worldly stuff, our star families and people we
Yeah.
interact
Yeah.
with from up there, right?
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about how that plays in, because this is intergalactic chats after all.
Yes, yes. For me, that's something that I'm learning more and more about. I've learned a lot of different astrologers that can help show you, your star family through that. And so I'm learning a lot about that. I'm a student in that right now. I definitely have a lot of Orion placements, and I really am attracted to that. We also have that galactic. What is it's 27 degrees, 29 degrees Sagittarius. Any placements there is the galactic, what is it? The galactic center point, or it's really an interesting, I'm learning more about that.
So, here's something very interesting is I am not an astrologer or an astrology. Okay, I need to have clarification. Is it astrologer or astrologist?
I would say astrologer, yes.
Astrologer, okay. Because I'm like always wanting to say both or one or the other. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so confused
Yeah.
here. But
Yeah.
I guess it doesn't really matter. But as far as that goes, I'm not an astrologer. So the science of it and the placements and all of the what's in retrograde, what's not, all the different things I have no idea about.
Yes.
As a galactic shaman for myself, all that truly means is I am
Yes.
a bridge basically for the information and technology that I have full access to from my star family and other star
Yeah.
systems.
Yeah.
So it's not even just that I identify with one star system, which is, for the most part, it is the Pleiadians, because the Pleiades and that star system is they have been so dedicated to the ascension process of planet Earth and humanity. So
Yeah.
they have had their life mission intermingled so deeply with our progress.
Yeah.
So I definitely identify and have my star family and helpers here on this planet right now who help me every day. So that connection is so very strong, but I also have ancient connections with other star systems as well. So that is in and of itself amazing to know that we are human hybrid beings that are not just, I guess that's what makes us very special, because we have so many different genetic material from other places that make us this incredible species of human being, because we are so blended in with other positive, amazing entities out there. Of course, there's some negative ones too that are blended in with the human genome, but that'll phase out.
Yes. I'm very happy to be here at this time to kind of help this mission of phasing that out.
Awesome. So as far as bringing in some of that higher consciousness or 5D connection, which absolutely is galactic, right? Is just
Yeah.
our ability to be in the higher realms. You do that because you also are, a dabbler and you delve into so many different systems. You mentioned earlier before we started our interview that you also do QHHT.
Yes.
Can you tell us a
Yes.
little about that? Because I know we have so many people who are interested in that.
Yes. No, I love QHHT. Dolores Cannon developed it, and she has so many books. If anybody hasn't read, she just started as a hypnotist that was trying to help somebody quit smoking, I think, and accidentally took her to pre-birth experience, and then did a lot with past lives, and then fell into all of the different galactic what we call
Experiences.
yeah. And so that's where I've learned most of my information on the different star systems and different galactic beings is through Dolores Cannon. And I have had a few clients that have gone to different lives on different planets. That was very eye-opening for me, because I think of myself, and my makeup is very much here to help people really thrive and have a really positive experience here on Earth.
Mhm.
So I haven't been like opened up to really have clarity on that other part of me, but I
Sure.
know it exists. And so it was very interesting for me to get to see with different clients that I've had, them having this experience of remembering different planets and in different ways. And there can be some real healing that can come from that too. I've had some clients that had maybe more of a warrior experience on different planets and things like that, that they were bringing here as well.
Yeah.
So
Some of that
yeah.
imprint comes through, right? So we have to sometimes clear some memory, cellular memory that's still coming through, that's interfering with what we're trying to accomplish in this incarnation. So it
Yeah.
is very important work. But I also want to say that it's very interesting that you said you're still opening up and figuring stuff out as far as the galactic piece is concerned, because this is very, very important. There are so many people across the planet right now that are awakening and a little bit confused maybe, or just like, whoa, what is that? What did I just see? What is happening? I just had this amazing experience. Where is that? What like they're just like, what?
Yeah.
So I'm saying this because even as I'm obviously a little further along with having those connections and being off planet and different things. And I don't even think you may not even really know my story yet. So please delve into what the podcast and different things so you can learn more about that. But what I really want to say is, even as an accomplished healer and someone who has all of these amazing tools to help someone progress through their issues, their shadow work, their communication skills, there's so much more to this progress. And that is our evolution. It is that galactic piece. And as a leader, we also have the opportunity to be healed in the same session that we are working with an individual, because it is, and I always say this, it is flow of energy and it is a conversation, right? It is that collaboration of the two working together in an open way, that their energy affects you and your energy affects them, and then we can grow from there. So every experience that we have and every interaction that we have with other people is a growth opportunity, is an evolutionary opportunity.
Yeah.
Do you agree?
No, I have noticed that so often. Anytime there's anything I am working through, I get clients come to me that have the same issues so that I can heal with them. It's the most humbling experience, because you always want to be, as a healer, you want to be like, okay, I've got this, I've done all of this work, but you're always growing, you're always evolving, and the right people are always coming to help you find a new layer. And even just our conversation today, you're opening a new layer for me as well. I'm a student for life, right?
Oh, yes, so am I. Absolutely. Well, Angela, I just want to say thank you again so much for coming on and giving us some of your wisdom and all of the wonderful things that you're doing for humanity. I do want to offer you an opportunity to share with the audience where we can connect with you, how we can get in touch, maybe work with you, have a session. Are you virtual, in person, all the things? Tell us.
Yeah. If anybody is in small town Iowa, I do accept clients to come to my home, do QHHT here. But no, most of my business is online. And so it's evolvingonpurpose.org is my website. You can go there and that'll take you to my Facebook, my Instagram, my podcast. I have a podcast called Evolving on Purpose,
Nice.
where I just get to hear all of the ways that we're evolving and living our life on purpose with all the beautiful souls that are out there. So I just love having this conversation. I really want to elevate the vibration of humanity, because the higher that we vibrate, the more that we can learn this next level of growth.
Yes.
So evolvingonpurpose.org. You can book a session with me. Just make sure you put in the comments like what you're open to, because I keep it very open to everybody. But if you want to do a little bit of past life, if you want me to look and look at some of the galactic systems, please put that in the comments, so I know that we're open to more than just this walk on this earth. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much. This is Carlene Saelg, and this is our galactic, what am I saying? It's Interstellar Chats. Almost forgot the name of my podcast. I've done that in the beginning when we first started many times, but Interstellar Chats. Thank you so much, Angela, for being here. If you are an avid listener, please share this with someone who this resonates with, who you think this may help. It would be perfect opportunity to bring someone else into the conversation. You can comment. We would love to answer any questions you have. And we will also put all of Angela's information in the show notes, so you have those links handy. Thank you again, Angela. I do appreciate it so much that you're here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.